So this one's already recording.
Okay.
I'll edit it out in the beginning though. Turn it up a little bit more.
Like a unit like Fire Dragons, I would love to take that.
30 should be good, right?
That should be good.
Because I still remember they took Fire Dragons a lot of times in a unit that big. So it's like 5 or 6 melting guns solves the problem. I put 6 of them. But the ability to not use up a slot for that would be
Because the Falcon is really an anti.
There we go. There you go.
A lot of people don't realize that.
Alright, we're just
If you
gonna
do all right against
go crazy here. Throw that up, you know, for when we're showing. This one, I'm gonna wait till show this at the end to show the box, you know, and everything like that. Or we'll do that. Okay. So.
When I built mine, back when I started, the first time they was 3 shots.
the rumored guns of the giant monster. The sun.
Talk Nerdy Me is here to give us our review of Superman Unbound.
No, you're not loud enough. You're not loud enough. We need to be louder. We need to project, okay?
All right.
Pablo Gunner and
The Ambassador.
over here, and we're at Twin Suns, and we're gonna do our special review for Superman Unbound. Now there it is. And I don't know about you, but I felt like this one was kind of under the radar. I mean, I remember them talking about it because I saw the special features from the last one.
Yeah, the only place I really heard about it was like actually looking it up at online stores and Batman Blu-ray.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was out. It's already been out for what, like 2 or 3 weeks already?
Yeah.
So, like I said, kind of under the radar.
But I tried to find it when it first came out, and it just no one carried it.
Yeah, and I didn't hear much about it. There wasn't very much buzz. I think it was partially because this one isn't really based off of an exact graphic novel. I mean, they said it's roughly based off Geoff Johns Superman Brainiac story arc or run, but not a specific graphic novel. Like, a lot of them have been like exact interpretations of All-Star Superman, Batman Year One, Batman The Dark Knight Returns.
That Elite one.
Yeah, Superman versus the Elites, which that one didn't seem like it was. But and the intro in this is really cool because it has pretty much where Brainiac is turning himself from a organic to a cyborg, having his eyes replaced with having a lot of his body parts replaced with mechanical parts, right?
Yeah.
He's becoming like a cyborg. And so, we're watching it here at Twin Suns because they have a TV. So we're going to be talking about it while it's going on, and so we'll be reacting to it, and we'll also be doing, we'll just be doing our review of it too. So, we probably won't get through the whole film, before we're done, but,
we'll get some reactions at least.
Yeah, we'll do our best. So in this one we have someone's getting taken hostage. We don't know who it is.
Yeah.
It's a female, and the cops are going after these guys. And I was like, right away, where the hell is Superman? Because this is Metropolis. They showed that right away. And I was like, what the hell is he doing there? He's not. Then they reveal the person, which I wasn't even sure who it was when they first revealed it because she has short hair and violet eyes. Did you know who it was when they first showed her?
I did, but I was like, this doesn't look right.
Yeah, she looked weird. And it turns out it's Lois Lane. Violet eyes, short hair. She's her feisty self.
Maybe even more so than usual in this one.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel like she is more feisty than she is more than usual. What did you think of the animation? Like, when you saw how they animated this, what did you think?
Well, some of it was good. It's just like the weakest part was Lois and Clark.
Yeah, I thought she was not very well done. Yeah, Lois and Clark, and we're not even just talking about Superman, because Superman actually looked pretty good
Yeah.
for the most part.
But like
But
Bart
there's
was
6
just
one-time errors.
he looked too built, and
Yes, he did.
he kind of like I kind of think if it's like if John Romita Jr. was trying to draw Clark Kent type of thing, so blocky,
Kind of, yeah.
and Clark Kent really shouldn't be that blocky.
Right, because when they show Clark Kent, I always think he's just like a bumbling, not a bumbling idiot, but kind of like
A
you know,
clumsy fool.
clumsy, bumbling simpleton, sort of. You
Yeah.
know, that's kind of how he acts. You know, and they didn't capture that at all. Like they made him seem like too much like Superman and not enough Clark Kent. You know, and that was. But we have Kara show up. Kara, right?
Yeah, Kara.
And it's Kara Zor-El, right? Or does she have a
Kara.
Kryptonian name?
She does.
Is her
last-
Kryptonian name Kara?
No. I can't remember her Kryptonian name, but her last name is L.
I thought it was Zor-El though.
No, Zor-El is her father.
Right, because the first 3 letters is their first names, and then the
Then
last
that's-
3 is like their last names. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like the House of L includes Clark and
The House of L. That sounds like Spartacus right there. The
that's
House
really-
of Batiatus.
Well, that's really like how they refer to it.
Yeah.
On Krypton is like the House of L.
Yeah, it is really cool how they do that. It is kind of like Roman type, sort of, you know?
Yeah, and if you look at their attire, it's kind of futurist Roman toga-ish.
But it's really awesome how Kara shows up and she seems more brutal and lethal than Superman.
She is.
Which makes sense because she is a teenager even though she's technically older than Superman, which is weird because she went through a wormhole, and so the way that it worked out is she actually ended up arriving at Earth later, a lot later than he did.
Yeah, there's 2 different versions. There's the
Well, but that's what they go based off of
This
this.
one's the wormhole one. The other one is she landed at the same time, but she was kind of blocked off. And so she was still in like that kind of sleep.
Right.
And she didn't wake up till Clark was already grown
She was
up.
in like a stasis and stuff.
Yeah, I kind of like that better than the other one. The wormhole, just because it makes more sense.
Right.
But,
So, and that's like, this one's pre-50, New 52, pre-New 52. I mean, yeah, pre-New
Yeah.
52,
it's
old 52.
Just-
Did they have a 52 books when it was the old DC?
they had a variety.
Because now they make sure to have like 52 books on the shelves
Yeah,
now, right?
they
But,
do.
But anyway, Superman does show up, and he kind of gives her a talking to, like, you're being too rough, and you shouldn't do that, and you're bad, and you know, and she's acting like a teenager, you know,
Like I can do what I
teenage girl.
want.
I really like how Lois, she sides with her though.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I'm a woman, and I remember what it was like to be a teenage girl, so give her a little slack, you know?
Yeah, I like that was the one thing I did like about Lois in this was the fact she was more of a I'm gonna try to figure out what's going on with Kara type thing.
Right. So
Which becomes a
also,
bigger deal later on.
disclaimer right here. If it's loud in here, it's because there's tons of tabletop gaming going on in here, like at
Yeah.
all times.
Got some hero clicks going on and some magic.
D&D, you know, yeah, all kinds of stuff. Warhammer. Don't forget about the Warhammer 40K, you know? So, but, anyways, you know, in the movie there's something falling from the sky.
Yeah, just a quick disclaimer. If you watch All-Star Superman, you gotta think of this as its own thing. Don't think of it as like a prequel to All-Star or anything like that.
Yeah, this is. I kind of feel like there should have been another movie prior to this because we go into this and Superman and Lois Lane are already dating.
And it's serious.
I feel, yeah, it is serious, and I feel like there should have been more exposition, you know? Like, I just need more of, like,
Yeah.
how long have they been going out, you know? Stuff like that. But,
And it seems like it's for a while and just pretty much Lois is kind of getting sick of just pretty much not having a very good social life when he's Clark,
Right.
because he's trying to hide his identity all the time.
I like this guy too. I forget who voices him. You know who voices him?
No.
The same guy that voices the Tick, right?
Oh, I did not know that.
Right or not? He voiced and played as him, but you know he was in Men in Black 2, right? Wasn't he the beginning of Men in Black 2? He's in a lot of mediocre sitcoms and stuff. But anyways, he was pretty funny as this character. He's trying to be like all macho and stuff like that. And
Pretty much the guy trying to woo Lois.
he's a d-bag. He's like one of those dude man bro guys. It's just d-bag. But anyways, so the thing that was falling from the sky ends up being a cyborg.
Yeah.
And so, or not a cyborg, but a robot.
Yeah.
A robot, pretty much like a robot scout. Superman shows up, and for a while it seemed like he was kind of giving him a run for his money. But I was like, no, he has to be holding back.
Yeah.
Because he stops holding back, and then he just tears this thing apart. Like
Pretty
nothing.
much just deactivates it.
Like puts this thing, turns it
Right
into
away.
scrap, yeah.
Like he doesn't turn into scrap, he just deactivates it.
Yeah, he deactivates so he can, yeah, exactly. And that's something that's interesting because I was talking to a guy from work and he's like, oh, I don't like Superman, you know. And a lot of people break it down to like, they think he's just all brawn and no brains, but he's actually really smart.
Yeah, he's extremely smart. There's like pretty much he uses his ice fortress to be able to study stuff.
Right, I kind of feel like because he's
He's got a whole life. He's got the way they say in the comic books is basically he has the biggest library in the universe at his disposal.
right, and he kind of has like a museum too,
Yeah.
like a national parks and stuff. But
because he ends up getting all those endangered animals.
Yeah,
and
all
they
those
have no
endangered
place
species,
to
yeah.
go.
like the
Including
Sun Eater,
dodo.
like the Sun Eater from
All
All-Star, yeah.
And in one of the issues, they even show a dodo.
But and it's funny too because the asteroid or whatever is falling over into Arizona, which who cares? Like there's anything out there, you know? It's just all desert, and that's where it looks like it's. Well, no, it looked like it was landing in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
But it's Arizona, you know? Who cares? They're racist against Mexicans. Why should we care? You know?
Well, if it's Phoenix, Continental would care.
Right.
Because we don't want all those great artists to die.
Right, and cosplayers, all those talented cosplayers. So, but anyways, it turns out it's just a scout for Brainiac, though. That this robot is, and he's just scouting out planets. Because what he does is he scouts planets to
Determine if they're worthy to be part of his collection of knowledge.
yeah, his collection of worlds. And what's cool about that though is when they actually do it, he goes, you know, I spared your world in a sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a big moral dilemma there because it's like if he wouldn't have done that, there would be zero Kryptons except for these two Kryptons.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe Power. Where is Power Girl from? She's from another dimension.
Earth
Yeah,
2.
from Earth 2. So that doesn't really count. But you know, it's just interesting because it's like, well, they wouldn't exist. These planets, they wouldn't exist. And what gets me is I wonder if what they did is they went to he would go to different worlds that are about to be destroyed, keep them safe and monitor them, and then he ended up like losing perspective and losing this connection with what he's doing, and then he just became corrupted. You know what I mean? I think I feel like that's what happened with Brainiac, because he used to do it to like preserve these cultures and these worlds that are about to be destroyed, you know. But then he ends up destroying those worlds and doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of blurs that line at first. You know what I mean? So, and I think when he meets up with Brainiac for the first time, he has that pause where he's like, "Yeah, you're kind of right. I wouldn't exist, or they wouldn't exist if you wouldn't have done this." You know?
And pretty much he said, instead of blow up the world Krypton, he spared it because they're already going to blow up.
Right. Exactly. So
I like the Earth 1 explanation to why it blew up.
Oh yeah. The Earth 1 Volume 1, the Superman Earth 1 Volume 1. Yeah, it is a lot cooler. My favorite though is the Superman Red Sun, where what it is it technically wasn't another universe. What it was is it was so far in the future, and that like I guess Lex Luthor untapped this hidden potential in humans, in himself, where he became like a superhuman, and his timeline and ended up becoming like the L is actually for Lex Luthor, you know, is what it stands for, but and so what happens is it's actually Superman is of Lex Luthor's bloodline, but sent back in time, because what happens with all suns eventually is that they blow up red, and that's why they lost their powers. But then when he sent him back in time, he sent his descendant son or whatever back in time to that timeline, to that alternate timeline. It's the idea is really cool, even though the book is it's all right, there's definitely better Superman books out there for sure. But I felt like the best part of this movie was not Superman, it was
Kara.
Yeah, it was Supergirl. Her arc, her character growth, her development was probably the best in this, because
I think she was the best drawn character too.
And you're not trying to be perverted either.
No, I'm just saying like you look
she just looks. Yeah,
you look at her right away. You're like, that is Kara. There's no. Is that maybe that's Lois?
Right.
And is that Clark or is that just a block?
I like the great distinction too between like how her outfit is more girly, it's a little more colorful, whereas Superman's has a darker tint to it, and it's definitely more accentuative around the pectorals, But was the interesting part about her arc is that she kind of has
she already has history with Brainiac.
She has history with Brainiac because she was there when
they took Kandor.
Kandor, yeah, that's the name of it. Kandor, right? She was there when Kandor was taken by Brainiac's forces. So she kind of has. It's kind of like I kind of feel like it's relative to how Tony Stark was in the Iron Man movies, where he kind of was like dealing with the fallout of that, like mentally. He kind of had like a mental breakdown about it, sort of, like that's how she is with this sort of, where she's like, she's really scared because she was a little girl and she didn't have powers, and that's something that. It's even my wife said is she's like, how come the Kryptonians weren't able to defeat his forces? Aren't they just like Superman? And I was like, no, because the Red Sun disables their ability to have the superpowers.
Well, they feed off of the Red Sun,
right?
So it's their body's used to it, but when it gets to the Yellow Sun, the powers manifest.
Right, and they affect them differently. Yeah. That's where under Yellow Sun, that's where the powers manifest. Which kind of make me wonder, like, if I were to go to Krypton, would I be superpowered?
That's what I always wondered was...
Like, would it be the opposite?
Does it affect people, the Red Sun?
Yeah, so I'm like, that would be cool if I could then go save Kandor,
That'd be cool, because then you could do kind of like a better version of Splatter Island.
Right, even if
where
you
everyone has powers because the sun turns red.
Right, or like where Batman were to go into Superman's world and then be the superpowered being, Like, it would be really cool to see Superman go to Kandor, to New Kandor, to New Krypton or whatever,
Yeah.
and hang out, but he would take Batman with him, but Batman would get powers, and he was like the Superman of that place. Just not all the time, just for like certain adventures, like Superman
Yeah.
Batman adventures, that would be really cool.
Would be sweet.
Maybe we could see something that in the new series. Probably not, but
Yeah.
it would be cool. So, but anyways, like I said, she has this fear because she was a little girl, she was powerless, and she couldn't do anything about
But
it.
she's also the reason why Superman knows what he's up against.
Right? She tells him, "Hey, this is a scout. He's just going to, find cities to contain, and everything like that." And so this
And
kind
she
of
knows
puts.
that Metropolis is his MO. That she knows that's what they're going to go after.
Right.
And so,
Especially with all these superpowered beings on this planet, And so this kind of puts like a kink in the relationship between Lois and Cal. Yeah.
Because he's going to go take
And
care
Clark.
of this and just take off. And pretty much just leave his girl behind.
Yeah, he's like, I need to go do this, And the thing is they're having like commitment issues, sort of.
Yeah.
They're trying to take it to the next level, and he's like, well, that's all great, but I gotta go do something. Which, I don't know, I kind of feel like she's selfish, because it's like, this is Superman, and I understand you want him all to yourself, but, she, purposefully puts herself in harm's way because she knows that he can save her, when he has legitimate people to save. Like, not that she's not legitimate, but she puts herself in harm's way in purpose because she knows that he's going to save her, when there's all these other people that are, hurt by natural disasters and, all this other stuff like that.
He's having to deal with her instead of save other people.
Right, so in this, he kind of does that, as he goes, sorry, I got to put our relationship on hold because I really need to do this, because if I don't, they could end up here, and other stuff like that, So that was pretty cool how they went about that, how there was also that arc between them, that development and their relationship or whatever, that whole thing going on. There's that conflict,
Yeah.
with the relationship. It's not just all perfect and hearts, rainbows, and all that stuff. I don't know why I said rainbows, because that's more of like a gay thing.
Maybe you can make
But it doesn't have to be.
Ellen might
It could
have
be
it.
gay happy thing too.
Yeah.
So whatever. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. It could be multiple things. But
Yeah.
anyways, so he goes out on his quest, and I love his ship because it's like the crystals
It's like a
from his
fortress.
from his fortress. Yeah. So that was really cool and stuff. So he goes and he's going out and he's going to search for Brainiac, so he can stop this before this starts. He's getting a little information from his ship, anything he can find out and stuff. And like I said, just when he first meets him and everything like that, it was actually really cool to see him. I think when he first finds the forces of them, he shows up to save another species, right?
Yeah.
Another planet. I mean, I don't think he did. I don't think he ended up saving the planet, but he kind of saved the people, though. It was cool to see him save other people other than humans, to be like, I don't just protect Earth the same way he doesn't just protect Metropolis, the same way he doesn't just protect Americans, he protects the world, and then he protects the whole universe, the whole galaxy, the whole other worlds, and it's great to see that in a Superman story or movie. Yeah, story is, I don't just protect the one, I protect everybody, and so it was cool to see that and stuff. Like I said, he's not exactly successful, though, in completely saving these people. And like I said, when he first meets him, he kind of has this quick takes a step back to think about it. Oh yeah, you kind of saved the species. That was pretty sick when he pulls
Yeah.
out the spine of this thing. I was like, man,
That is
that would
crazy
be
looking.
brutal if he did that with like a person. You know, that's
Yeah.
something that's cool about when he goes up against robots. He can completely unleash, and that's something that he does because he fights Brainiac and these robots multiple times in these movies, and he completely is unleashed against. He completely unleashes against.
Yeah, he doesn't
these-
worry about sparing people.
Right. In fact, you might say that he's unbound
Yeah.
when he goes up against these robots. But when he goes against Cyborg, because he is... I mean, when he goes against Brainiac, he's a cyborg. He's kind of... he's alien mixed with machine. I feel like he holds back a lot against it because he doesn't want to kill this... what's left of this
Yeah.
being. You know what I mean?
Even though, depending on what Brainiac you're talking about, some of the Brainiacs are just machines.
Our pure machine.
Like pretty
So-
much, there's either the alien origin
Mm-hmm.
or the Kryptonian origin, where he's pretty much created by a Kryptonian and it went out of control,
Right.
and pretty much Brainiac.
He kind of looks like Martian Manhunter in this, though. A
He
little
does.
bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. It was really weird to see him.
It would be interesting if he was a Martian, and then like he turned himself into this. Like that would be cool. I don't know, but so here we see the planet got destroyed, and he's pretty pissed. He's pretty affected by it. He was raging out. He was pretty disappointed in himself that he couldn't save these people.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that Brainiac doesn't completely understand the physiology of Kryptonians yet,
Right.
even though he has
And then Brainiac probes. He probes him. Which if this was an anime, I feel like the probing process could have gone a completely different way.
Well, with those hentai, it was.
Which is a form of anime, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the more disturbing, weird stuff that people shouldn't watch in the first
But
place.
there's like tentacles and stuff
Yeah.
with the probing and stuff. So hopefully gladly they don't take it there.
Yeah.
Because that would have been like.
And then here's Supergirl. Well, now she's pretty much saving the rest of the world but avoiding Metropolis.
I just want to see.
Yeah.
Because she knows what's going to happen in Metropolis and she doesn't want to.
She doesn't want to be there when it happens. Yeah.
And
Which I
pretty
really
much
didn't think about that when I was watching it.
Pretty much the only people who really catch on is Daily Planet. They're like, why is he avoiding
I'm
Metropolis?
sure that they're not the only people.
But they're the ones that really try to figure out
They're the ones
why.
that they show. So, but yeah, she's kind of left as the main protector now that he's gone. So she's kind of taking his place. And as we said, she does seem to be doing it slightly different than he does, though.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, he tries to stay out of a lot of stuff like she was doing. Like going after,
Militants and stuff.
Yeah, he kind of tries to stay out of the political stuff. Where she seems like she doesn't mind getting involved with that type of stuff, So, I have to say, though, the guy that voiced Brainiac did a spectacular job. Like, he completely blew me away. He was easily the best. Oh, that's gross. Because he just pulled the
little
thing
thing out of his mouth.
out of his throat. Like, when they, in the hospital, when they do that and they put it in your nostrils,
Yeah.
And it's like, it feels really gross when you're...
It's kind of like how they do with The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
When he gets out of
When he first got
Yeah.
woke from the hospital, that's gross. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the guy
Brainiac.
that voiced him. So if you don't know, the guy that voiced him, I don't remember his name. Maybe I'll look it up right here, right now. But the guy that voiced Brainiac is the same guy that is Walter in Fringe. If you've seen Fringe, I think it's a great sci-fi show. It's really hard to keep up and follow. So the best way to do it is to probably watch it through the seasons instead of
Yeah.
maybe they'll put it on Netflix. That would
This
be cool
is
if they did
interesting.
that.
Brainiac sends out another creature to kind of see what he's like before he messes with it.
Right, it's kind of like another specimen that he's
Analyzed.
That he's analyzed. He's like, I'm gonna break him loose to test this guy, pretty much, right?
Yeah, see what this Kryptonian can do.
Yeah.
'Cause he knows he's Kryptonian. I don't think he really knew about the whole yellow sun thing. It seemed like he was caught off.
Yeah, he's
surprised by
like,
the yellow sun.
you're different from other Kryptonians. Yeah, he mentions that, and so it is pretty interesting that he says that. John Noble. He also played the king in what was the like old decrepit king in Lord of the Rings?
Oh,
Come on, I know you know this.
I'm trying to think of his name, but he's the king of Rohan.
Yeah, the one that was like Wormtongue was like filling his ears and stuff. Yeah, him, John Noble. He did such a freaking good job. It took me a really long time to figure out who it was, because usually I figure out who it is right away, which actually, to be honest, I didn't know. I don't know who voiced Superman. I didn't know who voiced Lois Lane or who voiced Supergirl. So Diedrich Bader is the one that was Steve Lombard. I was wrong. It wasn't the guy that plays the Tick. It was the guy from oh god, what's that show with the? He does that show on not Wheel of Fortune.
Drew Carey?
Yeah, Drew Carey. He was on the Drew Carey show. One of his buddies.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about now, right?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, here. Maybe can you see that? Can you no, you can't. That's okay.
He was on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah, he was,
He's kind of like the goofy looking
you don't know who it is when you hear it. Yeah.
Not the bald one that kind of acts gay every once in a while, but the other one.
Yeah. But like I said, John Noble blew me away, dude. And it's cool too because something that's really interesting that you see in this is I don't know why I keep on calling him Cyborg. Even though he pretty much is one. Brainiac really gives him. He seems stronger at first when they first meet. And like I said, it's really interesting to see that, and that's something that they talked about in some of the extras is Brainiac's one of those few villains that can meet him when it comes to strength, or that can is equal or can outpower him.
Yeah.
You know? And he really has to dig deep and be like unleash on Brainiac, you know? Like I feel like he's one of the few villains where he can unleash, you know? Because most he holds back a lot, you know? And so it was really cool to see that, to be like, wow, this guy is really kind of giving him a run for his money, sort of. Like, he doesn't beat the hell out of him, but he has him captured and he's holding him captive and he's holding him down.
This is all without kryptonite or anything.
Right.
His own drawings.
Right, yeah. And that was... Because to me, when I seen Brainiac in the past, he's been the robot that has the Kryptonian core.
Yeah.
And I go, well, that's really cheap, you know? And this Brainiac, he's just going up against him, you know? And it's cool because he transports Superman to
Condor, thinking he can just have him as a hostage there.
Right, be like, you're a Kryptonian, and I'm gonna put you with your people. And I like how the city is, how it looks kind of like it looks really futuristic, but at the same time, I didn't feel the hustle and bustle of a normal town. Like, everybody's going about their normal lives. I missed that. I was like, I wish there was more of that, where there's the flying cars, you know, and there's this,
Well,
you know.
they kind of all stopped because of the fact that Brainiac took them.
Right. They don't have any reason to do that stuff. so they don't really do that stuff.
And that's another point he makes later on. It's like, Brainiac, you don't really know about mini world. You just know about what's inside your bubbles, and that's it.
Yeah, I like this part where
Oh, the watch.
where Lois tells Jimmy to use the watch
And
to
she's
call
like-
Superman, but Kara shows up and he's like giving her the wink, you know, and he's like, oh, hey,
Well,
maybe
Kara's
I'll
like,
use it
"That's
again
a-"
sometime, you know?
Yeah, I like how Kara's like, what's that annoying beep?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I really like that. He's like, hey, what's up? What's going on? You know, maybe I'll use it again sometime. You know, like he's gonna set up. He's gonna let like candles in the room and some Barry White. And he's gonna throw it on, see if she shows up, and he's like, hey.
With his luck, it's gonna be Superman.
Yeah, with his luck, Superman would show up.
Hi, Jimmy.
And he'd be like,
you doing one of your stories again?
He's like, yeah, exactly, right? Like in All Star. Oh God, that's such a good book. You really need to check out All Star
Yeah,
Superman.
it's so good.
We will be covering it for soon. We will be covering it soon.
Yeah, we should have Death of Superman coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
And then All Star after that, and then Earth 1 Volume 1.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely for sure. It's a great book, but you know, like you said, we continue to see this relationship grow between Kara and Lois Lane.
And I almost feel that the reason why she ends up doing what she does at the end is because of these conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it kind of makes her realize, I gotta confront my problems or else it's just gonna keep happening.
And it's great to see the human side of these super characters. You know, like here she is, we have her crying and she's talking about Krypton and all the stuff that happened. And you almost lose touch with them because they are so godlike that you go, oh, they're not anything like us. They don't have regular human emotions. They're not affected by this or that. You know, but she's really different from Superman, from Kal-El, because he was an infant when he arrived, so he's always kind of been different, where she's used to being more
Normal.
human, more normal, yeah.
And then suddenly, whoa, I have powers. What's going on?
Right, and that's something that we see in this is she doesn't completely get how strong she is. She doesn't get her power, and she doesn't get her responsibility, and that's something that we see in this, and that's why I said the arc is really great to see in this, that you see how she grows, and by the end of this, she grasps that. She understands it, she gets it, you know? And that's really cool. Like we said, Superman gets transported to Kandor,
And
he's
used
trying
to not having powers.
He's starting to lose his powers, and it's interesting and cool. And it was really funny because when I saw this, I was doing the thing where I talk out loud about the movie that were thoughts in my head, you know, kind of like those Dude Man Bro guys who will see trailers and movies and they'll be like, yeah, Vin Diesel, cars, fast, furious. You know what I mean? Like those guys. It was like the nerd version of that for this, because I was like, he flies up and he falls, you know, back down. And I was like, he's starting to lose his powers. He's starting to realize and feel what it's like to be normal, to be human, you know? And my wife was sitting right next to me and she's like, what the heck? And I was like, oh, sorry. Like, I completely, you know, didn't even notice that she was there, sort of, you know.
I like how you kind of see how Brainiac kind of monitors and rules these little cities, so they can't really do anything on their own.
Yeah.
Or even build any power to go up against them.
I really like the Kryptonian mustache.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet, and they're all dressed the same too, which is kind of weird. They have zero sense of fashion. They all dress the same, and it's cool though too. And something that I saw in the extras that they mentioned is he ends up talking to his aunt and uncle, Kara's parents.
Yeah.
Which is something exclusive to this movie.
Yeah, because the truth is, Kara's parents are psychotic, and well, the father is at least, and actually in some stories have kind of been more of a villain when he comes back. Because he's kind of more of, they're both scientists,
Yeah.
but he's kind of the mad scientist brother
Right.
compared to the good scientist
Okay.
that Superman's father is.
Well, what about in this? Because in this, he seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, in this he's a good guy, and I would just put it at face value as he's a good guy.
Right. So is this pre? So that's the difference between pre-New 52 and New 52, or what?
It was old
Or is that
50.
just this
movie? They kind of went a different take because they couldn't really have him as that type of character what they were wanting to do.
Oh, okay. That's why
So they
that
changed
makes
him.
sense why it's exclusive to this now. But it's cool too to see him like, oh, you know, he's talking with them and they're like, you know, he's like, oh, this is Kryptonian food, and they're like, you know, as close as you're gonna get. It was really cool, pretty interesting. And the whole time though, like the gears are turning in my head. I'm going like, Superman, you need to hurry up and do something because you're gonna lose all your powers
Yeah.
if you don't act soon. You're wasting time. You know, because
Really,
he
he's
just
just
seemed like he
trying-
was conversating at first, you know?
When he's really just trying to figure out what he can do.
Right. And something that his uncle brings up is that becomes pretty much the how he defeats Brainiac is he says, if you notice, he controls what's going on in these
little worlds.
in
of
these
his.
worlds. He doesn't let them go as they are.
So he's really not learning anything.
Right.
He's just learning what it's like for people to be captives.
So when you think about it, all he knows is what's inside this shit, and that's it. He doesn't really know. He's not really learning anything about these worlds. He doesn't really know anything of these worlds because he doesn't really go in them and walk amongst them. You know, like he's one of them either, or anything like that.
He just kind of has his drones observed so he can see it through his drones.
Yeah. So, but it was cool because he goes, all right, with the strength that I have left, I'm gonna bring them out.
I'm gonna break the ground, and everyone's like, "What the heck you doing?"
Right? They just think he's a lunatic.
Pretty much, and it's crazy. You see him even bleed.
You see him bleed. His knuckles bleed from him pounding the ground, and that's always something that I find very impressive. Then when they do stuff is when they show him bleed, it's you never see him bleed. That's one of those things that you only see him bleed when he's near death. I feel like.
Or kryptonite, but this one's more like he's just normal.
Right, and so it's really awesome to see this, and I love the way he takes these downs too. Something that you mentioned and told me about before is how well these fight scenes are choreographed.
Yeah, these are some of the best animated fight scenes
In these that I've seen,
that
yeah.
I've seen in like most animated films.
Yeah,
in
especially
general.
even especially with these ones, it's pretty
Like
interesting.
the only other movie I'd say that has better scenes would be Planet Hulk.
I don't know, dude.
But
Dark Knight Returns and Year One are really like
It's true, they have really
Part
good
2
ones, too.
brutal as hell. Like
Yeah.
that fight with Joker and Batman.
Oh, where he's
Oh.
just running around shooting people because he feels like it.
Yeah, and when he just like snaps his neck. Oh, awesome. But you really see like he's in this cocoon though. You really see this cocoon thing going on.
Yeah, and then you got Superman just kind of doing his idea.
And it's crazy too when you see him return, how you can. I really got the gravity of he's weakened, like he's
Yeah.
not at full strength.
He's not at full strength though. He's doing everything he can to kind of weaken Brainiac,
Yeah,
so he doesn't have to fight at full strength Brainiac.
so
Which he does do pretty good of a job.
yeah,
He
absolutely.
disconnects him from his ship and pretty much ties him up.
And it's really great too because he's plugged in. He's literally plugged in like through these things on his head, and he breaks them loose, and the oil spurts out. And it's really, they did a really good job with this. I think they just did a good job with showing all his different powers too in this, because you see him use his X-ray vision, you see him use his laser eyes, you see him use the ice breath too,
Yeah.
which I feel like you don't see a lot of times. Which really you only saw it once in this, but it was still really cool.
Yeah. People always ask me, why does he have ice breath? Well, technically, the reason why he has it is because it blows so fast that it actually freezes things.
Right. It's not
People
like
don't realize it's not him just shooting out
ice powers, yeah.
For powers, it's just.
Which is kind
Wow,
of weird
physics.
because you would think it might be more like fire breath because, I mean, how hard is our mouths? Are like 106 degrees at all times, right?
Yeah, but I guess with how fast it's going.
But then, of
it goes
course, when
down.
you blow it out, it's cooler.
Especially when it's fast. Like,
Yeah.
If you blow it out slow, it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, if you go, then
Yeah.
it's more, then it's more hot.
Yeah.
But when you do the blowing, it's more cool. So yeah, I guess it does make sense. You know, it does, because everything is like stepped up with him. You know.
Yeah, that's why I don't want him to sneeze. He'll take the door out.
Yeah. Blow clothes off. That might come in use though.
Yeah, you know, that could be a good
Oh,
thing.
you! You
Oh,
know.
I'm sorry. Looks like you're gonna have to stay that way. Your clothes are in Metropolis now.
So, he disables his ship and he goes back to Earth and he's like, you know, we need to fix this. We need to, you know, do something about this. You know, we're gonna stop him and stuff. He ends up showing up. They show up. They have this big old battle. And at first, Kara's really scared. Like
Yeah.
she's kind of still that scared little girl. You know.
And then she realizes that if she doesn't face him, Brainiac's just going to eventually run into her again.
Yeah. It's never gonna stop.
Unless they stop him now.
So she has to confront her fears.
Which is true, because she can go escape to a different world, but then Brainiac's going to eventually show up.
Yeah. So, but, you know, just, it was really cool, you know, just seeing that whole arc with her. You know, he captures Kandor. Something that always puzzled me, too, is that he just keeps it. For a lot of the time during the DC universe, you know, pre-52 run, pre-New 52 run, he just keeps it.
Yeah, because he really doesn't have any way to bring them back to normal size.
And that puzzled me in this, and as well as just normal people. My wife, she said, how come he doesn't just let them out? And I was like, well, because he can't take the risk of all these superpowered beings on Earth. Could he stop them all?
No.
I mean, then he might have to end up taking out... I mean, because there's no way that all those people are going to use those powers for good, for one. You know? Two, would you want to be constantly going up against and have that constant dilemma? You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's these people that are superpowered just like me, and who knows when or if they're going to use their powers for bad. You know?
Yeah, and then the one thing that didn't really make sense to me is, alright, he destroys Brainiac, and then he magically knows how to bring them back to normal size, Metropolis and Condor, without...
Well,
really-
I guess the process, he just lifted that nozzle up and they grew back, which is
weird.
Not really fully explained, but it's still, you're like, yeah, you know, whatever.
Okay, whatever. Maybe Brainiac set it up like that.
Right. Because at the end of this, he does get Kandor and he takes it to a red planet.
A planet with a red sun, and does that.
Or a galaxy with a red sun, and then that's what happens. And what makes me think of that though is, and something they actually mentioned in the in the special features is, they said this is the first time we had this happen, you know, because he always just keeps it. And in this, at the end of this, he lets it loose, and it ends up becoming New Krypton. Because there is that run called New Krypton, and because it made me think, well, okay, so they don't have superpowers, but what's to stop them? Because they made that ship that he's in, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. They have that technology to make those ships. What's to stop them from traveling to a solar system that is a yellow sun, and then try to conquer those planets? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or even Earth, for that matter.
Especially since...
Because I feel like he doesn't defeat that dilemma. I think Superman being Superman, he would go, he would do that thing where he would go, I can't do too much, but I can't do too little, so I'm gonna let them thrive on their own in this city, but I'm not going to unleash them on the world because it could be detrimental to the rest of the galaxy,
Yeah.
to the rest of the universe. You know what I mean? So something that we talked about is at the end of this, you have Clark Kent. Not only does he make it public that he is dating Lois, but right after that he proposes, which is confusing to be like, oh, I'm going to go from making our relation public to let's get married. I'm like, dude, I mean, even if they've been together for a long time, I still feel like that you're kind of jumping the gun there, buddy.
Well, this is cool when the Daily Planet takes out some of these guys.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense, though, because the windows were up above, and then you know what I mean? Like, when I thought about it, because they did, like, the sliding chair thing out the window, but the windows weren't level with the ground. The windows were windows. They were up above, so the chair wouldn't fall up and out. You know what I mean? But if it was a regular, just full glass, it would have gone straight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they did the same thing with the desk, and I was like, why is the desk falling? This doesn't make sense. This part didn't make any sense to me. There's this part where he's destroying the robots, and it felt too anime-ish to me.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like anime to me.
No, it doesn't.
And it's the only fight scene, and I felt like it was the only part in this movie that did not fit at all. Because it was like the very freeze frame punch, almost like a Scott Pilgrim-esque.
Yeah.
And it didn't fit at all to me. That is one of the few things that didn't fit for me. And then, I don't know, but this robot somehow has more powerful optic beams. And I wonder if it's maybe Brainiac's observation of Superman was somehow able to recreate the power of his beams. You know what I mean? Because he seemed like he has just as powerful beams as Superman. That one robot did.
Yeah.
Maybe he's putting out upgraded robots. And this is where we really see Kara... unleash, yeah. In fact, I kind of feel like maybe it would have been better. It probably wouldn't have gotten as many people to buy the movie, but it would have been better if it was like Supergirl Unleashed, or something, because I feel like it's more of a Supergirl movie, really, when it comes down to it.
I really do, because this is more the way they do Brainiac. It's more of her villain than Superman.
Yeah.
Superman just kind of getting stuck with him because he's coming to Earth pretty much.
Right. But anyways, getting back to my point is that they left it open. I feel like they left it open for a sequel because he proposes. So they could do one where, okay, they're continuing the relationship, seeing where it goes from there. Also, we could see New Krypton.
Yeah.
New Krypton and see where that develops. So it's a possibility. I would be interested to see it because I honestly feel like the way they did this is they set it up for the perfect sequel or to make more of these movies.
Yeah. Now he's doing the whole little shrinking the city down.
Yeah, but it's just
really weird. It's just one part of the city.
It's just one. Yeah, I was like that. I thought he did that with an entire city, like he did with Kandor. It was the entire city. It wasn't just like,
downtown.
I'm just gonna get the nicest part of the city. I don't want the ghetto part of the city. I
just want downtown.
I don't want the bad.
Metropolis.
Yeah, exactly. I want the uptown.
Yeah. Get the Daily Planet in there. I'm good.
Yeah. But anyways, Brainiac does this thing where he captures Superman, and he ends up hooking his ship into Superman, which I was like, whoa, what is...
He's trying to overload him.
Overload him, or, get him to understand how he thinks, how he sees things, and you kind of feel like he could go either way. Like, could he possibly be like him?
Yeah, it's crazy too. Like the things getting into his head is making him believe.
Yeah, he's pumping him with his. Yeah, it's crazy. but the dialogue in this between him and Brainiac and just this whole process, everything that happens in this was just so awesome.
And then he's using his powers again to say, okay, Kara's over there, so I need to do this to be able to get to her.
Yeah, he's probing Kara now.
Yeah. Apparently girls are more fun to probe.
I don't know, it seemed like he had more probes in Superman. But it is pretty cool though, just how this. But the way that it ends up being is that what he does is he kind of turns the tables on him, where he goes, he pumped him. He was trying to overload him with information, right?
Yeah.
He ends up doing the exact opposite to him. He goes, okay, you know what? I haven't seen you out of your ship. I'm going to take you to my planet. I'm going to take you to my world. I'm going to show you how things are on Earth. I'm going to overload you with all this sensory overload. And it was really cool and interesting. I kind of feel like, though, it would have been cool to take it a step deeper, take it a step farther in it. Kind of how he did in All-Star Superman, where when Lex Luthor got his powers, he saw the world the way he saw it, whereas everything is connected.
Yeah.
Like all the particles,
Sad that he finally gets it at the very end.
At the very end, yeah, that was really awesome. That's why it's such a great movie. That's also why it's such a great book, is because you see that. And I kind of feel like he kind of does the same thing. It would have been cool to see because they do show that where Brainiac's like overloaded by all this mud, and he says the bacteria. It would have been cool when they said bacteria, they would have like zoomed in and showed the bacteria.
And he starts freaking out.
And then he starts freaking out, and he literally overloads and combusts. And I was like, that's cool, but at the same time, I felt like Lois Lane just gave...
Brainiac the middle fingers.
Yeah, Brainiac the double bird. Yeah. And he does the people's eyebrow, which is more of a human trait, but whatever. He's already learning human traits,
Yeah,
But
also so primitive. He's already learning
the people's eyebrow.
people's eyebrow.
So, but it was just really cool how that happened. Overall, though, I feel like I was as impressed as I was with this movie. Like the guy that played Brainiac totally blew me away. Like I couldn't imagine anybody doing a better job. I really don't. He had the perfect voice for it, and his performance was just phenomenal. It really was. The animation was great. Kara's story arc was great. The thing that did it that kind of I didn't like it as much as other Superman films is, okay, for one, this felt like more of a Kara movie, a Supergirl movie. Two, in a lot of the Superman movies, there seems like there's an arc with Superman, like there's a point to it, like and the same goes for his books. Like in All-Star Superman, they show how, despite he is this godlike character, he cares about every single person. Like when that girl who's about to commit suicide, and he shows up and he just hugs her and he's like, I care.
Yeah.
I care. Please don't do this because I care. And that was really like, that got me teary-eyed, and then the whole point of like how he sees the world, essentially everything is connected, that was the point. I felt like that was the point of All-Star Superman, was that's why he sees it and that's why he does what he does. Red Sun, though I didn't like it as much as other graphic novels,
Pretty much Superman is the same no matter what.
Right, it proved that no matter what timeline, no matter what Superman, no matter what situation, no matter whether he landed in Russia or he landed in America, he is the same Superman. He still has
great right here when he tases Brainiac.
With his, here's a taste of your own medicine. And like I said, shows how the awesome voicing from John Noble. You know,
Yeah.
so good. But that's why for me, I was like, yeah, it could have been better. I feel like if they focused more on Kara, like, you know, the thing is I completely understand advertising. I get it. You're gonna name it Superman, and
you're gonna sell more.
and you're gonna sell more instead of calling it Supergirl. You're gonna make more. But you know, something that one of the iFanboy guys said is, what is up with these with all these bondage titles like Superman Unbound, Superman Unchained, you know, and then you know, Man of Steel. That's not really bondage, but you know,
Yeah.
you could if you thought about it enough, I guess. You know.
Yeah.
So it's so for me, I felt like this movie wasn't as good as the full adaptation was. You know.
Yeah.
I really wish they would have gone a more full adaptation. But at the same time, if they would have done that, we wouldn't have seen that great scene with him meeting up with his uncle and Kara's parents.
Yeah, because he wouldn't want to.
So, but you know, like you said, you know, Supergirl ends up saving the day.
Pretty much, and then pretty much you see overload Brainiac.
So for me, I don't know about you, but let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. For me, it wasn't as strong of a buy. Like the All-Star Superman. Let's see. Is there any other Superman
Elite?
ones? Yeah,
That one
Superman.
wasn't
That
great.
one was okay. That one is probably the one where I would say it's
The moral's good, but I like this better as far
it's
as
a
watching.
rent. You know, yeah. This one is better. You know, but like I was saying, All-Star Superman. That one is a strong buy. Whereas this, I feel like is I don't want to say it's a it's. I think
give it
it's
a buy for
it's a buy.
Supergirl content.
Right, it's a great Supergirl movie. It's more of a right, and here's that ice part that I was talking about. That's awesome. I love it when he does the tornado spin.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
so
it.
cool.
I love it when they do that. When he does that. Oh, and this was one of the greatest scenes in the whole movie when they're falling and they're doing the fighting.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is so cool because
just
it's
don't
like
have
you
that happen
could
too
stay
often.
stationary flying, but they're both falling and fighting, and that's you don't see very often, and it's really really cool.
And you just don't see enough worthy opponents to even try it.
Yeah, for sure. So that was really cool. But anyways, like I was saying, it's not a strong buy for me because you call it Superman Unbound, and it's more about Supergirl, and I didn't get that. What is the point of this for Superman? Like the strongest thing that I could conjure up is, despite Superman, he has that sensory overload too, but he's had to deal with his whole life, and he just finds a way to appreciate it and deal with it, you know,
Yeah.
is what I got, which is weak, even though, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. But this is the thing. There's always great extras. I haven't even watched them all because there's so many great extras.
This is a DC movie. You're gonna get loaded with extras.
Right, there's going to be like 10, well maybe not, I don't know about that many, but maybe altogether you'll get 10 extras because they have trailers for stuff, you know, they have, you know, trailers for the next, they usually have a feature for the next one, which is going to be Flashpoint. That one I'm more interested to see.
Yeah,
because I've never read Flashpoint, but I wanted to, and I hope this inspires me to, you know?
Yeah.
The next one, but you know, there's tons of extra features. And it actually is, I mean, this is like the third time I've seen it. And it's definitely worth the Supergirl story arc, and it's definitely worth seeing Brainiac, seeing John Noble's performance, or experiencing John Noble's performance as Brainiac. Even at the end where the eyes are flashing back and he's like the grunts and oh man, he's so good in this. He really killed it. I think he was easily the best the best
Brainiac I've seen.
Well, not just the best Brainiac, but like the best voice actor in this
Well,
film.
let's
Did the best performance.
the best Brainiac cartoon.
So,
Because they had a live action Brainiac that was actually really awesome.
All right, and hopefully you can see this. If you went through this whole thing, you can use this code to get it for free right here. All right, so use that code, follow the instructions, and you can get it for free. So this is an exclusive of the of watching the video, because we're gonna try to turn this into audio and just a short written review that's spoiler free, because
Yeah.
these are spoilerific. I mean,
These
obviously,
are-
because
yeah.
we're sitting here and we're talking about the whole movie. So that's it. Thank you, Twin Suns, for letting us use their space, and especially use their TV, and everything like that. Really appreciate that.
Notice
They're
a
really
few
cool
people
guys.
turning heads, watching, go, whoa, what is this type of thing?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity. So the animation's not as, like we said, it was just with Clark and Lois, but everything else just looks so great. You
Yeah.
just kind of turn to go, what is this?
So, but it's great. While I'm hungry, I'm gonna go get some lumpies.
Yeah, have a lumpalicious meal.
Stay nerdy,
Planet
planet
Earth.
Earth, and remember, keep those eyes hungry for
Comics!